hope traders and investors alike were green on Friday. We have a huge week coming up this week. I want to talk about a little bit of housekeeping first. We're going to have this edited in and do this a little more professionally, but we must remind you that this is for educational purposes only, and you must consult a financial advisor before deploying any real assets into the markets. We just go over price action for educational purposes only. We're not going to be editing this video as much as usual, so do apologize there. Just looking for a little bit of self time. The biggest thing this week is going to be what I like to call the Trader Super Bowl. So we do have the FOMC announcement at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. So Big Daddy Powell will come out at 2:30 and do the press conference where he will be asked questions, kind of like a little Q&A event, and those events also move the market. We also have a huge week of earnings, and I remember saying this exact same thing last earnings. We just don't get Big Daddy Powell Wednesday afternoon, then turn around and get an Apple earnings report on a Thursday, the very next day after market close every single week. So huge week coming up. Just want to go over some of the names that are reporting this week. So we have Apple, AMD, SoFi, Palantir, PayPal, Shop, Lilly, McDonald's, Roku, Qualcomm, ANET, Square, SMCI, DraftKings, Pfizer, NCLH. We have some of these, looks like Solar Edge reporting this week, ON, CAT, Airbnb, we have Moderna, Crocs, Estes, Carvana. Pins is also reporting. CVS is reporting. Starbucks, Coin. First Solar this week. We also have Rig in there. Caesar and Amgen, WDC, Net, and PENN, PENN, also reports this week. So we do have a huge week of earnings, and we are expecting something this week. So we're going to talk a little more about that as we're going through the charts. So let's go ahead and get started on the charts. You can see Friday we did close with our put to call ratio still in the bearish zone, heating up here 117, heading into the bearish zone. The oscillators still holding down here as well with a negative 147 on the Nasdaq, and on the New York Stock Exchange, negative 134. So we are heating up. Still have plenty of room to move in either direction. Now, the SPX, this is our weekly candle. We got a strong weekly close. As we talked about last week, after we get this weekly close, we're getting a monthly close midweek. So Tuesday's our last trading day of October. So we're expecting a candle to close. We would like to see where that candle closes. Can the buyers come back in and take any of it back? Normally this last week of October, they try to run the market up like a scalded dog, and this is when we go into November, and the markets really start to turn a little more bullish. The whole scenario of everything that's going on right now with the economy and all is definitely not normal with the wars and stuff happening. So we do want to be a little careful with the market. We had a nice move down. We had a setting up with a beautiful trending move last week to the downside. And honestly, right now we're expecting some backfill this week. We're pretty extended down here. So we are expecting to see some backfill. Now we're going to take a look at that monthly candle. We're going to talk a little more about it when we get to that monthly candle. You can see the breadth. We did close last week or Friday at a negative 1388, so still hanging out in the bearish zone down there, and you can definitely see the bearishness versus the bullish moves, the moves up. You can see how much green you get up there. We are mostly red with a lot of bearish breadth thrust. We really need to see a change in that. The dollar. You can see the dollar still trying to hold that breakout, still retesting the daily moving averages. We want to see the dollar weakening. The VIX had a very nice push up on Friday. We are above these moving averages. Kind of talked about this. This is our goose head setting up here for the daily. Unfortunately, the VIX does look like it wants to go higher. We need to clear the range high to go higher. So our target right now is the range high. We're looking to clear that range high so we can go higher if the VIX wants to go higher. Not that I want the VIX to go higher. Crude still we did have a decent day on Friday, trying to push back up, just retesting the daily moving average. This chart does look inverted cup and handle here. Does look like it wants to go lower. We have spent a lot of time talking about the crude with Israel and all that happening, so we already kind of know what to expect there. We're just going to try to keep it moving through that. Apple still trading in this wedge. We did barely, but looks like we closed below on Thursday. barely. That can definitely be adjusted out. Update on Friday. Hopefully looking to retest some moving averages on these daily charts this week at least. We need to see what happens when we do set up for the bear flag. Will we break it and move lower, or will we try to pop and push up into the end of the year? Big week. So we can see natty gas with a big improvement last week. So natural gas was looking really good. Big drop down last week. Nice recovery there. Moving averages there. It does look like it wants to go higher. You got a fresh MACD cross on that as well. Seasonal time of year. Apple trying to it tried to push higher at open on Friday, but then you can see the pullback and the chop. That opening candle range was in control of this pullback here. If we go back, you can see. So for me, when I look at this candle, for me, what's actually in control for support there was this pre-market candle. We were never able to move below that and was able to push higher. So does not look like the, you can see that the opening candle did give some resistance, did get a close above and it pulled back. So it was able to push there off of that opening candle. But when we did pull back, we come right back into the same area that held at market open as well and was able to bounce there. Gold still flagging here, a nice close, higher close on Friday. They did take back quite a bit of that candle. It's a lot of stuff going on right now, and the fears when they seems like they're coming after gold when there's Israel fears and Gaza Strip fears out there. So let's take a look at our chart. This chart tells us the percentage of stocks that is over the 50 and the 200 day on the S&P 500. So we can see right here, the 50-day, we have 26% of stocks that are over the 50-day in the New York Stock Exchange. We only have 11% that is over the, 15% that is over the 50-day on the New York Stock Exchange. If you look at the S&P 500, we have 24% that is over the 200-day, and then we have 10.6% of stocks that's left hanging out over top there, 50 daily moving average. A lot of weakness there. We need to start really seeing some improvements here if we're going to push higher going into the end of the year. We can see a nice turn down on our advanced decline lines, which are super weak there. And AA is bear flagging. You can see we had a nice falling wedge here, and we ended up breaking lower on that and moving lower, which turned into a little channel on the way down. Wanted to call it like wedging on the way down, but just a nice little channel. I don't need to overthink it on the way down. And now AA is bear flagging. So we're looking for a candle to close below. This is target 1 if we're going to go lower. This chart does look like it wants to go lower. These moving averages are really setting up. It's all about this 9 right here. It's got to push through this 9. If it does not push through that 9, there's no hope in going higher. If we break below that bear flag and clear this range low, we're definitely looking for a move lower on that chart. American Airlines. So American Airlines, we're doing great. You know, been seeing some of the earnings come out, and it's just before a few months ago, before this earnings report, they were screaming about how great the economy was, and you can see at that time the charts were going higher. And in July, when they were still saying that everything was great with the economy, seemed like the market just stopped buying that and started to sell it. So you can see this clear downtrend from July. This has been a easy money trade to the downside, just waiting for the right setups. If we're going to go up, we need the airlines to break that downtrend. Aflac, we did close below the 50-day and our bottom trend line. So Aflac, we could be looking for a move in this week. Seeing the insurance companies falling apart as well is definitely not healthy for the banks. The banks are getting hit pretty hard right now. AMC is not really doing anything down there. AMD, we had a decent move higher on Friday. Give it back at that 200 on the 15-minute time frame. You see some ghost candles in there at the end of the day. Not sure what that's about. Amazon, this is Amazon's daily. You can see that gap down and a nice gap up on earnings. We still are under the 20 daily moving average. We need a close above that 20 if Amazon's going to go higher. We do have a gap below us. Great volume on Friday. We've been moving on expanding volume. You can see they were selling it coming into the report, and they were buying it back on Friday with a strong report. Arcade, this is a beautiful, we got this drawn out as a wedge breaking down, but if you can see it, you got a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder there too. So very beautiful head and shoulders pattern breaking lower. This one we were watching as a wedge because we have so many head and shoulders patterns out there. We were trying to find a different way to look at this, the same pattern. You can see head, shoulder, or a wedge. Same pattern, or same results depending on how you want to draw it out. I do prefer the head and shoulders pattern because head and shoulders have a particular way that they trade, and just understanding that alone is valuable. All right, so this is Avgo's weekly chart. We've been looking at that one. Let's take a look at Avgo's daily chart. You can see Avgo is trading within a broadening wedge here, and nice recovery Friday, a bullish Harami. This looks like, if I had to guess, we should be trying to push back up for a bear flag type move, just for a retest of that 50, the 9, and the 20 up there. Now, other than that, we need to see if we clear that, or will we see rejection and move lower. So a little bit of patience. Hopefully there will be a trade up to those areas, but then it's time to be a little patient when we get to that area and see how the market wants to set up. But right now, overall we are trading in a broadening wedge, broadening channel. AMD daily, you can see we broke out of this channel and crashing right back into it. Small spinning top here on Friday. Once again, a signal looks like it wants to try to get back up to that 9 and 200 up there. AMD on the weekly coming back down here, testing the bottom of your falling wedge or your little flag there on the weekly time frame, also testing your weekly 50. So if you're interested in AMD, make sure you know where your weekly 50 is. Amazon intraday had that strong push due to earnings, did give some of it back at the end of the day, still closed green. Amazon, this is Amazon's weekly, able to turn this candle back green. We were sagging down here pretty low, so they did come back for it on Friday. Those bands are still pinching. Right now, it looks like it is not ready to make a move. As long as we're tubing like that, we're not expecting nothing big, but we definitely want to keep an eye on that. This MACD is bearish, good volume last week. Apple. So technically we did close below outside of this wedge, so we should be taking a move down. We do still have this 50 down here, and you can see the line just by changing the line up a little bit. We are still holding that, possibly still holding that bottom trend line. Watching Apple closely this week. Boeing, you know, we had this higher low, broke down, H-cell pattern type move, breaking down, still very weak down there. Bitcoin strong here, trying to break the flag, close above H-buy pattern. Let's go. Looking for a move up on that one. TNX up. So we can see some red candles here. That's actually good for the market last week. Trying to push back down. We need a much bigger move than that back down. That's not really enough to start partying yet. Coin. So we do have Coin here. Coin, your 200-day is support. We broke out of the wedge finally just to get smashed back in. Guys, these crypto names are not moving very well. Providing intraday opportunities, but they're not moving very well with Bitcoin. Communication sector, gap above us. We did gap down. Moving on, expanding volume to the downside here. Want to watch that gap. It just does try to push back up. If we need a good market, we need to see some improvements in a lot of areas if we are going to see any kind of a real reversal here. So right now, we are expecting some backfills this week. To change that up, we need to see some real signs to be expecting anything other than backfilling. XLP, consumer staples, red candle there Friday. And DFS, this is another pretty bad looking chart. This is a bad looking chart. It really is. So we do have gap. You got 3 gaps above us to have to battle back through. We do have a little bear flag area down here we're watching for support. Moving averages look like we do want to move lower. They are on their way down to apply pressure on price action. If we do get a bounce, we could definitely bounce up to that 9. Hopefully we can see that. Like I say, you have 3 gaps up there, so there is a lot of resistance to the upside on that one. DraftKings breaking down out of this wedge. EQT, this is an energy name, strong move on Friday to start giving it back again, or strong move on Thursday to start giving it back again on Friday. Just not playing out, and it's kind of what we were expecting. We knew crude was going to be difficult, and we knew we had to wait on news, kind of headline driven right now. It's the best way to put it. Lilly breaking down there, has earnings this week. ExxonMobil closed below, chart looks weak, looks like a big H-cell pattern there. Google, two gaps above us. Got a lot of work to do there if Google wants to go higher. Home Depot breaking down. If we look at Home Depot's weekly, we can definitely see we're below that weekly 200 now. Keep an eye on this next level of support in this area that we're coming into. I think there's better places for your money right now. Intel had a great report. This was surprising, so I just want to keep an eye on it. Intel is definitely not the favorite stock to trade, but if we draw a trend line right here like this, and let's make this a little more normal of a trend line, normal sized. You can see that area does need to be cleared to go higher. Had some momentum on Friday. The sellers come back in and ripped them back down. Can we start clearing? You can see we barely closed over those moving averages, but was a very barely. See if we can go higher here. We need to clear that downtrend. If we can get above that downtrend, I'm bullish on Intel for a short move until we see this market clean up. And you can see IWM here, huge. Not sure if that's a ghost candle. Huge. Not sure if that's a bad print, but definitely not cool there after hours move. QQQ got a little bearish Harami here, bearish inside day. On some of those names, well, that's actually what we were expecting, because we did have two big moves down. So we said, you know, a lot of times when we see so many moves down, actually just basically expecting an inside day because we have moved down so far to try to let the moving averages catch up. QQQ weekly, the falling 3 confirmed. JP Morgan. So JP Morgan was already getting destroyed here. That's an earnings candle, and now news come out Friday that Diamond was selling 1 million shares. There's nothing wrong with that. They're allowed to take profits too. And I actually kind of like seeing them take profits. I like seeing people pull money out of the markets. I like seeing people make money in the markets and pulling it out and spending it. That's just me. Stuff like that moves the stocks and can provide catalyst. Lockheed Martin finally breaking below the 9. Want to keep a close eye on this one. Still looks really good on those moving averages. McDonald's. This is a really nice looking chart. I just wanted to point out that we do have a hole there in our volume profile. Flagging here back above the 9 and 20. This chart does look like it's trying to reverse. We want to take this range high out in this area. Like I say, this is not a gap. Just this area, we got to move up above this area to get into this hole to start moving freely, and then hopefully we can continue to push up. This 9 is turning up. We did close below the 9. Want to see the 20 continuing to turn up, and that MACD does look good. This looks like a decent chart that's trying to reverse. Closing below the 9 could be a little concerning. We want to see how we do act there. We got to clear the rest of this volume profile bar here so we can get into that void. Merck got a set of pipes there, and basically this one closed lower, so looking for a move lower. Meta come up, filled that gap, popped up and filled this gap on Friday. We do have a little bullish spinning top here. Keep an eye on that one. Their metaverse is just dragging them down. They, you know, eventually, hopefully, that will be profitable for them. But that's what's really hurting Meta right now is the whole metaverse and, you know, their whole I can't think of the name of it. The Vision Labs, I believe, is what they call it. But, you know, their whole outlook into the future, which could be incredibly profitable for them in the future, right now has still costing a lot of money. And that's just kind of the way things work. So that is hurting them. Did look like some of the other numbers in their earnings, you know, wasn't a totally fail on the earnings. Just the metaverse is killing them. Meta. You can see the 15-day, we had the nice push it open and then trading in this pretty tight little wedges action there. Microsoft, huge down day, so we had this nice gap up and it's been giving it back right in between the 9 and 20. I want to see how we handle this. Can we reclaim this 9 and push where we lose this 20 and 50 and go for a move lower? Those bands look like they want to pinch in. Microsoft, huge move, really strong move at Friday, push open, and then it give that back. Great trade there in both directions. You can kind of see shoulder, head, shoulder breaking down. Pretty clear action there. Microsoft Weekly, we need to get this candle back up there and close outside of this weekly pattern. This is a great weekly chart compared to a lot of the other stocks that are, in the that we're trading right now. This weekly chart looks really good. A lot of them are down to the bottom of the wedge or even broke out of the wedge, and we're still sitting up at the top above the moving average, except for that 20, but right there. NVIDIA breaking down. Bearish Harami on Friday. Looks like it's waiting for the 9 to catch up for a move lower. Hopefully they come in and try to buy this market up this week. I like it when people let trends work, and that's a big part of the problem. I was actually asked the difference between trading now and trading before COVID, and this is a fact. People don't want to hear it, and it hurts a lot of feelings because people may like to make a lot of excuses. I'm just being honest. If we could just let the trends work a little better instead of you just have these dip buyers trying to come in or rip sellers coming in steady stepping on the trends. If we all let the trends work, guys, we'd all make a lot more money. Let's just keep that in mind. The sad thing is a lot of people won't put the time in to learn how to trade a trends. All they know is just how to come in and buy. So NVIDIA, we are looking for a possible move down. The thing about this last week of October, they love to come back in and try to change that monthly candle. That's a lot of work to take back that monthly candle. They love to try to push the market up to the end of October. So plus we let the trend work. It's time to see some backfilling. So we are hoping for at least some backfilling this week. Now Powell can definitely move things in the market as well. So we're not really getting too overly certain with any direction or anything with this week of big earnings and with Powell coming in this week. But we know with the right news and what the market historically likes to do for the last few days of October is push higher. And I will be as open-minded as can be at market open, and the charts that tell me they want to go down, I'm still expecting a move down on those charts. The charts that look like they made a nice move down, I'm expecting backfill on those charts, and not expecting anything more until we, reclaim some moving averages. All right, NVIDIA weekly, still a decent wedge, but we did close above outside of that. The NASDAQ breaking lower below the daily 200. Nothing good happens below the 200. I mean, it's just not where we want the stocks at, and especially the NASDAQ exchange itself is below the 200. So we did get a bearish Harami. As of right now, looks like it wants to go lower. This 9 is coming down, hoping to see some buyers show up in the market this week. I'm only looking for backfill, guys. I'm not looking for an all-new high in the market or anything like that. And we'll talk more about that when we do get to the SPY chart. The Netflix, we're nice bull flag back down. We're looking for to actually enter this gap and to move into this gap, or we're looking for a bull flag break. This is a big area for Netflix. Can trade setting up now? Let's let this trade set up, and then maybe we can make some money on it. Problem is, we don't like to let the trade set up. We just want to start buying, right? Let's be honest. The Qs, still hoping to see some kind of cup and handle move here, but we do have to be realistic. This is a lower high. So this could be, if we do continue down, where will the new low be? Hopefully, we're just trying to put in a handle, which is a higher low, and to go back up here and retest the highs. But we have to be honest and realistic. This is a lower high right now. So we need to see the market put some work in. That's all I'm saying. We need to see the market put some work in before we go gun-ho bullish on the markets. SPX daily, see nice move down. The SPY is going to look a lot like that. We did add this chart as well. So this is basically, I just added the volume profile. This is the thumbnail. And you can see this area right here, the small area right here where it looks like buyers may have tried to come back in last week and buy a little bit, buy it up there. I'm watching this 4109.9 area. 4109.90 area due to the bottom of this green candle. Just want to keep an eye on this area. Looks like we did find some support there. The buyers did try to come back up. So we do want to watch that area for support. SMH, this is the semi sector. So China news come in a few weeks ago. More China bad news come in last week, the week before last, and still moving lower. I'm not sure if it's moving lower on that news or if it's just moving with the markets. Let's be honest, it's probably just moving with the markets, right? Let's not overthink that. Diamond, head and shoulders breaking down, H cell pattern, heading lower Three red crows right there. The last candle closed stronger. That has to confirm. I'm hoping that doesn't confirm and we can see some backfill heading back up. Want to get closer to those moving averages. That's all I'm expecting, guys, is backfill for now. Hoping we see more than that, but it's all I'm expecting now. S&P weekly, nice close on this weekly candle, losing the weekly 50, weekly 200. We still down at 382.44, and that's what a lot of people are expecting here. There's a lot of bears out there who are looking for this 200 day. They've not really. We did touch it down here, so I can't say we didn't get to see it. We did touch it down here. But that 200 day is still coming up with a nice ascent on it. The bad thing is on the weekly time frame, we have turned the 9 and 20 down, and it's starting to affect the 50 as well. Moving averages are opening up to, or the Bollinger Bands are opening up for a move down. You can see money coming out on the CFM, and we can definitely see this histogram. Remember, this is a 5 histogram. This is a 9 histogram. We can see that histogram getting beat. Reacts a little better than the 9. Your standard MACD comes with the 9 histogram. That's just a 5 I like to watch. Same thing here. All the charts where you see the histogram, they are just a 5. Just gives you a little sooner reaction sometimes. So we have the monthly chart. This candle is still open. This candle is not closed. They can still push this candle back up. It's very important to see where we do close this candle here. And Tuesday is the last trading day of the week. Wednesday is a brand new day. For all the Discord members, just want to shout out to all the original members who have been in since day one. November 1st is the 2-year anniversary. SPY, this is the daily on SPY. You can kind of see the head and shoulders right there, or you can see the shoulder, head, shoulder. Now you can also see this broadening wedge. You can see the lower high. This is very H-cell pattern. This right here closing below. Nice move down, cleared the 200 here on the daily. MACD is bearish, getting a little extended here. We're about $6, looks like, from the daily 5. A little farther than that from our daily 9. Looks like about $12 or so from the daily 9. Like to do some backfilling here, like to push back up and bull, or at least give us some bear flags for the next move lower, or take these levels out and try to push higher. If that does happen, we're curious to see where that high will be, because we put in a lower low. So if we do push up, we are expecting a lower high. Now if we break the lower high and end up putting a higher high in here, that's when we're looking for the birth of a new trend. But as of right now, the trend is down. Even if we push back up and see some backfill, please understand the trend is right now is down. SPY trying to move lower here. Now on the intraday chart, Square. You can see Square, a nice candle closing outside of the Bollinger Bands on Friday. Bands opening up. The chart looks like it wants to go lower there. Tesla, you can see that this opening, pretty choppy on Friday. Nice move down, nice move back up. You can see the downtrend overall. XLK. So XLK got a long-legged doji there on Friday. Chart looks like it wants to go lower, but needs to get outside of that little wedge there. Tesla holding the weekly 200 for support. Bands are opened up, look good for a move down. If we clear those levels, hopefully we see some backfill on this one as well. Tesla on the daily, bear flagging, breaking out of the wedge here. Another chart. This does look like it wants to go lower. The only thing is we got to, worry about the dip buyers coming in and trying to push this market up. Uber, this is another chart breaking down. We did get a high close long-legged doji on Friday. That 9 is on its way down. That chart does look like it wants to go lower. Broke below, come down here, found support at a previous resistance level, found support there. That candle closed below, started working to the downside. Watch your daily 200 there for support. Walmart back below the 9 and above the 50. I don't like them when they're stuck in between two moving averages like that. XLE back down here testing previous support. Strong red candle from bearish candle on Friday. XLF, you do have this is like a falling 4 here. Basically bear flag break, but you can see your strong candle. Even if you use the blended candle method there and use it as a falling 3 or strong candle, 4 in the center, we'll take a falling 4. Banks do look like they want to go lower. It all starts here high lower high is just going to be a lower high. You know, as we're moving lower, where's the low going to be? Where will we try to push up from here? Will this be the low? A lot of questions there. TLT trading pretty tight in the wedge. Just it's back above the 9 there though on the daily. IWM, this is the weekly time frame. Looks pretty bearish down here. So back down here, testing. Do apologize for that. Back down here, testing last October's lows. And if we go to IWM daily, you can see freshly breaking down. A lot of people panicking. I mean, it's pretty. The chart's doing what it should do. I mean, it's clear price action, right? Everybody, we see this, right? All right, so we see a head and shoulders pattern. We see breaking below, coming down, strong push up. Just what head and shoulders patterns do for the next move down. You can see your moving averages right here pinching up to open back up. If we were trading the 1 minute chart, this would be clear. So I just don't understand why it's not so clear to a lot of traders. Just so many people panicking out here like the world's coming to an end just because the market's moving lower. And things here are just working very clear. Hopefully we do see some backfilling this week. I hope you are green tomorrow. I hope we have a great week. I hope you have a great week, and I hope to see you in the trading room. Please remember, discipline is the key to success in trading.